Welcome to Let's Talk Recovery Equity, a series of conversations around how we can reach and help more people find freedom from addiction. This series offers us a space to reflect on some of the complexities of substance use disorder and mental health, while also discussing new pathways to hope, recovery, and healing. My name is Andrew Williams, and I serve as the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the Hazelton Betty Ford Foundation, and I'm the host of our series. Today, I'm excited to welcome Albert Tittman as our guest. Albert serves as a wellness counselor at the Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indians, and also serves as Associate Director of Cultural Integration and Development at the Springer Behavioral Medicine for the Tellawell Indian Health MAT project. He also serves as Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Native Dads Network. He is also currently a trainer for the White Bison's Wellbriety Training Institute and has over 18 years of experience in implementing the Medicine Wheel and 12 Steps program in Native communities. So thank you, Albert, for joining us today. I was really interested when I saw that you served on the board of the Native Dad Network. And I wanted to ask you if you could to share a little bit around the inspiration behind the starting of the Native Dad Network and what is the vision and mission of the Native Dad Network?
Yeah, so thank you for that. You know, the inspiration again behind developing the Native Dads Network was really driven by the work we'd been doing in tribal communities with a young man who had came to our Center for Help. His name is Mike Duncan, who is now the CEO of the Native Dads Network. And it was through his journey of healing, wellness, and recovery and coming to the center and the work that we were doing there that he had a vision that one day he said, I want to do this work for our people. And through his journey, he had experienced some barriers, some roadblocks, because in recovery, he was a single father and he was reaching out for resources. He needed help. And in many of the programs where he was reaching out for help, they, for example, housing programs, there weren't any in our county for single fathers. They were all for mothers in recovery. And so um, he overcame that barrier and eventually found and became stable in his life and came to me one day after going back to school, becoming a KDAC. He started running Native Fatherhood of Sacred Circles, and he said, "I want to start a nonprofit." And he asked if I could help him with his vision and his mission, and I said, "Absolutely, let's do it." So 2012, we received the 501c3 status. And the mission has been growing ever since. And so our mission is to reach out to Native American fathers and their families through the lens of cultural integration, cultural, spiritual, ceremonial, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and bring back fathers to the sacred fire. Bring back fathers to the foundation of culture, spirituality, and ceremonial practice. And that the vision, we just evolved the vision. We just had I actually stepped down from being the chairman of the board of directors after having been in that position for a decade. And we actually received a nice award through SANSA for the work that we continue to do. And I'm actually the deputy director now of the Native Dads Network and director of operations. And so we just realigned our vision statement. So I don't know it by heart yet.
All right. Hey, I'm glad to hear that you're deeper into the work than ever before, and I appreciate the window that you've given us into the very important and powerful and inspiring work of the Native Dad Network. And I'm sure others will be excited to learn about this network, and we'll explore ways that they can get connected to it as well. And in many ways, my next question builds on your response to my previous question, where you identified some of the barriers that have been in the way to Native American men in particular, in this case, right, making their way toward treatment. Some of the cultural barriers that were real, some of the just the logistical challenges as one tries to find support and healing in the context of having other family and job responsibilities. So I'm wondering if you could speak, it's kind of a two-part question as to, what do you continue to kind of encounter as some of the challenges of doing your work? What sort of other resources and supports could benefit, the work that you do? Another way to ask that more directly is, how can an organization like the Hazelton Betty Ford Foundation that I represent, how can we offer stronger support? How can we be a better ally to your efforts?
No, thank you. That's really an important question, and it's a great question. Um, I believe today this is a great way to support our work, because honestly, I wasn't really sure if we were going to share about the Native Dads Network, but this is a great opportunity for us to really get the word out about the great work we've been doing over the past decade. And prior to that, individually working in clinics, in treatment centers. And so for us, here in the Native Dads Network, one of the barriers that continues for Native fathers, especially single Native fathers, are residential inpatient treatment programs for families that allow fathers and their children. There aren't any in that are culturally specific in the state of California. There's not one, and and so that is a barrier in and of itself. Housing just period is a barrier, but when you have a single father who maybe has an open CPS case, needs to go to treatment, has kids, doesn't really have a safe place to leave his kids. I know a number of places that will take women and their children. I don't know any that will take a man with his children. I know places that'll take a man. He has to find a place for placement for his kids. And so I think just in general, we need more family treatment centers. I think that's important. But for us, we see that as a barrier. And always one of the other barriers um, for us in working in tribal community is the complex and compound layers of trauma, historical trauma, intergenerational trauma, generational trauma, and the stigma that is attached to men in our communities many times of being weak, asking for help. That stigma still exists today. It's plaguing our communities. Shame and guilt, obviously, are a part of that, and unresolved grief. We're seeing men struggle with resolving grief, healthy ways of coping with loss in their lives. And what you can say historically, as many of us have been disconnected from our language, our ceremonies, our religious beliefs, and we've assimilated into the dominant society. And when that doesn't work, and we have, for example, a place where men can come and sit around the fire, sing, pray, and then learn about maybe 12 steps in the medicine world teachings, or some cognitive behavioral therapy, or some brain spotting techniques. They're like, oh, I don't know about that. I heard bad things, stigma. And so the shame, I think, is real. That's one of the biggest barriers. And the the stereotypes about Native people, we all have casinos and money, is just not true. Tribal people across the United States live in poverty. 10% actually have successful gaming. And just because a tribe has gaming doesn't mean every Indian in the United States benefits from it. It's
Absolutely.
simply not
Right.
true.
Right.
It's like saying Bill Gates shares his money with everybody, and it's not how it works. So those are the things. Uh, Historical trauma, the impacts of intergenerational, generational, financial, and in terms of treatment beds for men and their family.
Mhm. No, again, I appreciate your very rich response, which I really think gives us an opportunity to really deepen our understanding of the complexities of some of the barriers that both Native leaders offering treatment, individuals and families confront, right, as we try to kind of expand, right, hope and healing in Native communities. And of course, I'm struck knowing there are very real, right, historical and cultural differences, though, between, right, what you've highlighted in some ways, right, is that grounding for solidarity between Native communities and Black communities and Latinx communities, where I think I know in the Black community that I identify as being part of, right, that stigma of being weak as a man, right, is one of those significant cultural, psychocultural barriers that we have to navigate in taking that step, right, toward walking the path toward healing. So I appreciate how you highlight some of that common ground, along with the very real financial barriers and the ways in which traditional treatment kind of modalities are also can be very alienating for African American people as well. But I also, to kind of bring it back to Native American communities, also really appreciated the complexity, right, of how you explain trauma, right? It's not just something that's historical trauma from the past, but you named intergenerational trauma. And like some of our other guests remind us, right, that trauma is ongoing, that based upon different types of racialized oppression and discrimination, Native peoples continue, right, to be traumatized, daily, and as they encounter diminished life chances and other challenges as well. So appreciate, you deepening our understanding of those complexities, including that last one, of course, which resonates with me as a father as well, on how we really need to think more divergently, very creatively, around how we, really support men in being able to move through treatment with their children and other family members. I think that'll be one of the real takeaways that I leave here with as part of the medicine that you're offering us today. Albert, I can't believe we're already almost out of time. So I'm going to move toward asking you the last question that we ask all of our guests, which is, what might be a message, a word of care or motivation that you can share with anyone listening in Native communities or even beyond who are struggling with addiction, who have loved ones, friends, family who are struggling? Any words for them?
Absolutely. The road of life, we call it walking this red road. Boy, we lay it on the foundation of culture, spirituality, and ceremonial practice for all human beings. For all human beings, we lay that foundation. Uh, it could be burdensome at times. It could be a blessing at times. And so what we're learning is we're drawing all of that knowledge forward through the layers of trauma, intergenerational, generational, and we're calling on the spirit of those ancestors as well that survived, that brought resiliency, that kept our language alive, that kept these ceremonies alive for us to have. And so we're working on intergenerational healing, generational healing. We're sharing this message for the next 7 generations forward. We learn from the generations behind us. They experienced a lot of shame, guilt, trauma, but they pass forth these teachings so that we can begin the healing, so that our great, great, great grandchildren, maybe they live in wellness, they live in harmony, they live in balance. And so um, we learn from the polarity up, down, high, low, brings balance, harmony back to our life. That's what walking this red road is. That's what we say. And we do that. Um, we do that every day. There's not a day we can afford to take off anymore on this journey of healing, wellness, and recovery, specifically from substance use disorder. But just in general, when we talk about whole person care, yeah, it's taking care of our whole self, mind, body, spirit, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. And there is a way we do that every day. Every day. I'm going to take a day off. So I say, we live Motakubu, from my heart to your heart. Deke Kamo. Thank you in gratitude.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you, Albert, for that response. And I think, giving our listeners and those who are viewing, right, this this vision of hope, this hopeful vision, and this reminder, right, that there is support out there. There is help, and help that's specifically, right, kind of designed or envisioned, right, to help support folks on that red road, and that there are real, wraparound holistic services that can help people move toward greater healing. So I appreciate those caring words, those inspirational words, that reminder to people that help is available, help that is aligned, right, with one's own kind of worldview and cultural orientation as well. And your words with us today have truly been medicine for all of us. And I feel like the spirits of the ancestors are with us right now, and are letting us know that they're here and supporting us in the work that we do. So thank you, Albert. And to all of you listening or watching today, I want to express my appreciation for you taking the time to join us for this very important and meaningful, soul-growing conversation. And Albert, thank you again for sharing your wisdom, experiences, medicine, and tremendous insights. And please know that we recognize and appreciate the advocacy and life-changing healing work you do, as you say, every day. So thank you.
Visit the Native Dads Network website.
Yes, I'm certainly going to revisit it today, and I hope everyone who's listening will visit it as well, and the dads out there, will get connected to the network as well. And to everyone else out there, again, please let your friends and colleagues know about the Native Dad Network, about these conversations, and please come back often and catch more episodes of Let's Talk Recovery Equity. Together, we can advance recovery equity for all those in need, as we also work to change how the world thinks about addiction. Thank you again for joining us.